So today we're going to talk about a brand new character. I was already messing up. It's like we're going to actually talk to the character. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna just keep on playing it. But this is a new character request from you guys. Sailor Moon, an iconic character and one of the most iconic heroes. I even grew up watching the show when it was on Toonami. Anybody remember that? It was on Toonami, Cartoon Network. It doesn't even air anymore, so you can watch this on Amazon Prime, Crunchyroll, where most people probably watch their anime, their shows. But Sailor Moon, or other words, her original name, Usagi Tsukino, is Sailor Moon, and she is the hero of this series, the main hero, and a little bit of backstory. I'm not sure if anyone out there seen the show before, but we're going to just bring up the roster as usual. Still waiting on a new character, see who we're going to get. We're not sure what's going to happen for this game. But let's bring up the roster on the screen so everybody can see who, as usual, who's in the game. And just like I leave it on this question mark now, instead of just highlighting the character, we don't know who is gonna be next for this game, as this week almost gets closer to ending, and we're almost going into the last week of April. So hopefully you'll get somebody soon. But I just want to say that real quick. But let's talk about Sailor Moon's backstory and how she became who she is, or Usagi Tsukino. And for this particular character request, I had so much fun putting this together, and it brought back so many memories. And watching these clips, you can look up the clips here on YouTube to see her powers and abilities and things that she's capable of. And I'm not sure if they don't. I'm sure most of it's in Japanese, but they don't really have the full English dubbed episodes. But you want to probably check it out on Crunchyroll and just maybe on Amazon Prime from there. If you guys are interested in the show. But this is definitely one of my favorite cartoons I end up watching, and favorite animes alongside of Dragon Ball Z and so many more that I can name and go all over the place. But this is all about Sailor Moon for this request for you guys. So let's talk about who she is. She was originally just a normal girl in class, a middle school or a high school student at that, and she wasn't a hero. She didn't have none of these abilities at all. You know how some of these superheroes, when they start out, they end up discovering their powers and their hidden potential. She never had any of these super abilities. She never had any of these powers at all until her life changed from this particular character I'm going to get into. So she eventually becomes the princess of the Moon Kingdom and the leader of the Sailor Guardians, or they sometimes are called the Sailor Guardians, but there also can be named as the Sailor Scouts for this particular group that she formed. And little did she know she was destined to save the Earth from the forces of evil. And this whole show took place in Tokyo, Japan. But how did she get these powers? How did she get this name, Sailor Moon? She ends up meeting this black cat named Luna, who has and there's another cat that can talk too. It's a white cat, but I forgot that particular character's name. I forgot his name. But Luna was the one who started it all and basically gave her informed her of what her destiny was and what her future was going to be, because she was a chosen one. See how some of these characters in these shows, they don't start off as heroes and they don't have their abilities until the show goes on, because they're living their normal lives. So Luna was the difference maker in her life. This black cat, this magically talking cat, Luna, who originally gave her this magical brooch that could allow her to transform into this character, Sailor Moon, that you guys could probably see with her outfit when you guys check this video out, if you guys are interested. Sailor Moon is the guardian of love and justice. So that's how she became who she is, with this heroic this heroic character for this particular series. So it's a really good show. It's super fun to watch, and it's not just her. She ends up getting to know these other characters and other guardians that she ends up forming this group to become the Sailor Guardians to stop the forces of evil and protect the city of Japan, and so much more. They have their own abilities and their own special powers that they specialize in, I want to say, with the other characters that I'm going to be talking about just very soon, that I came up with some ideas for the characters. But that's her little backstory and how she became who she is. Usagi Tsukino is a Sailor Moon and just a powerful character with lots of potential and different abilities and super strong. But that's her backstory. I just wanted to share. I just didn't want to just get right into the ideas. I like talking, just like I said in these other requests. I like sharing the backstory of these characters or whoever it is, he or she, so he or she can know, you guys can know who this character is, and maybe if this character catches your interest, if you might be interested in checking out their show. And that's why I like doing this even more for these new shows and characters that I've never even seen before. But Sailor Moon is definitely iconic and definitely one of my favorite shows. But now it's time for the stages to start talking about the location and what kind of stage can they come out with this particular character if she was to be in this game. Even if she's not going to be in this game, she could be in a different game. I'm still going to say the same thing. These ideas can be associated with any game, even if it's not. For All-Star Brawl, which you might have the potential of being in a different game at some point. But the stages I came up with, just like I mentioned, it takes place in Tokyo, Japan, in Juban District. The Juban District of Tokyo was the main setting of this show. So they can make the map based on the setting and the visual looks of the show. It'll look really nice. Graphically on the PlayStation 5, I can just imagine it. It just will look really good. Super realistic as well. But I came up with that as a stage, and they can call it the Juban District, or maybe Tokyo, Japan. They put Tokyo, or maybe the school that they all went to, or that she went to, the Juban Public School. So I don't know. I just thought this would be probably some potential stages for her to come out with. And she doesn't, even if they can't get a stage, it could just be just the character. So it doesn't really have to be a matching stage, because we already had characters, again, just like Shredder, who came out with a non-Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. It wasn't a TMNT stage. He came out with Double Dare, which was a game show. It's a Nickelodeon game show, and that was just very different and unpredictable. You would think it would be awesome. It's going to be another Ninja Turtle stage, but there's already 3 Ninja Turtle stages. Did they really need to get another one? They don't really have to get a stage to coincide and be similar to that particular character. They can get somebody else or some other different location to match, or just the character itself with additional skins. And that's what leads me into her alternate costumes. So let me know what you guys think about the stages and maybe an ideal location. But those are what I selected for my little stage ideas. Now costumes, I came up with a different variety, and just how I mentioned how she was just a regular normal girl in class, she can wear her school uniform. That could be paid DLC, but I'm not sure if it would probably be able to match up with some of her abilities of what she's capable of, so she'll probably have a different sort of alternate costume. But I still put this one in as an additional sort of potential paid DLC people might be interested in buying for her school uniform. But a unique idea that I came up with, I was thinking about Super Smash Bros. Melee with Princess Peach, and this is the perfect character relation that I wanted to associate with to associate with Sailor Moon and Princess Peach. Now, the reason why I picked her is because if you guys play Super Smash Bros. Melee and remember her alternate costumes, Peach will wear many different colors, where one of them would actually look like Daisy. So I thought Sailor Moon could have different skin variations. So I came up with Sailor Scout colors to represent the other Guardians. The other Guardians in the show, see how it's SpongeBob, they all got one. They got all one alternate costume, but Sailor Moon can have a large variety of skins and colors to match, similar to how they did all those different variety of colors. Each color that Princess Peach had, she had 4 different colors, and then the yellow one in particular was Daisy. But she didn't become a character until later on in the Super Smash Bros. Series, but they still made a color or a skin variation or alternate costume for Princess Peach that resembled Daisy from the Mario series. See what I'm saying? So now with that kind of sort of skin variation and relation, they could do something like that with Sailor Moon in this game or in any other fighting game that she ends up getting into for DLC. As a crossover, she can have these different Guardian Scout colors to represent the other Guardians, Venus, Mercury, Mars, and Jupiter, who were the other guardians she ended up recruiting to become the defenders of Japan to fight off the forces of evil. So you know what I'm saying? They already have their own unique abilities, but they can just change the color of her bow. They don't really have to change her color, her hairstyle, because every character from the Sailor Guardians or the Sailor Scouts, they had different hairstyles. Maybe they could do that too, but they don't really have to go as far as that. They can change the color of her bow and then the rest of her outfit to match up with Jupiter, Mars, Mercury, and Venus from the show. So I thought that'll be a really unique idea for them. If they don't add into the school uniform, she can still do her powers and abilities and all the things that she's capable of from this particular setup for Ultimate DLC. So it could be an all-in-one purchase instead of having them be sold separately. Or maybe that can also be an additional idea. If they have a favorite Sailor Scout, maybe they don't like Sailor Moon as much. They'll like her, but they might favor a particular Sailor Guardian or a Scout. So they'll buy that particular skin individually. See, so I think, so say if they're fans of Mars, I like Mars or Jupiter more, and everyone's gonna have different favorite characters. They just buy that skin to have Sailor Moon wear to represent that particular their favorite guardian. So I thought that'll be a really cool idea, and each color could just be a tribute to each individual Sailor Guardian. So I thought that'll be sweet, and she can be one of those characters that's going to have a good variety of skins because there's all those other Sailor Guardians. Even if they don't get the other characters in, Sailor Moon can still represent those different Guardians in that way for no skin variations, regardless of whoever you guys like the most from the show. So I thought that was a huge little idea for Ultimate Costumes that they can really expand, and Princess Peach really gave me that idea of Super Smash Bros. Melee with all the colors of her dresses, with purple, she had a lighter blue and a green, and then a yellow one, just like I mentioned, that looked just like Daisy with her hair being a different color. So they can always do that too, but I just think the colors of the outfits can each be great for those Sailor Guardians that are from the show to pay tribute to the show. So I thought that'll be perfect. But now we're going to get into the taunts and animations. And I just think that she should be a good character. She would be an even better character with voice lines. She would have to be able to talk with the voice lines, and certain characters, just like what I did with Shrek and maybe some other different DLC characters, they'll be so much better with voice lines instead of just having them be completely silent. And just again, she can come out and be one of those unique characters that could be the one to talk, and they can just slowly come out with voice lines with each individual character slowly. They don't have to bring them all out at once. It'll just make that character or that certain DLC fighter or character that comes out more unique, because that person will be able to talk. He or she will be able to say the things that they want to say for the voice lines to pay tribute to the show. So just some iconic voice lines that I selected from the quotes that I remember from watching the show. Every time she would transform, she would say, she would say, "I'm Sailor Moon, and in the name of the moon," and then she does her pose on the screen. "I'll punish you." So that's one of the best quotes from the show. I thought that'll really be cool to add for her character idea and for voice lines. And that's how important the voice lines is and will be for these certain characters that come out. They have to be able to say the things that they say from the show. It'll make them even more amazing, and more people will probably buy those characters because they can talk. And speaking of transformation, she had a transformation code from the show. She would say, when she does her little power up, "Moon Prince," and she said, "Moon Prism Power," and that's when she starts to initiate the transformation on the show. It's really cool to see. But every Sailor Guardian has their own unique transformation. See, because they wouldn't, just again, they don't have to get everyone from the show, but it just will make her even more greater of a purchase for the player to want to get the DLC because she'll be able to say these unique voice lines, and people remember these shows. If you guys watch, they remember these iconic quotes that she says, and it brings back so much nostalgia. These are some of the best quotes that the developers can really put in. Now, I didn't just come up with just voice lines for her, for the animations and whatnot. The moon pose that she does, the famous pose that she does after doing the transformation, this could be a silent. She doesn't really have to say anything. She could do a little iconic pose. See how Danny Phantom does like a little pose like "Bring it on." He could say something. Of course, like "Bring it on" or "Come on." It could be something silent of that pose, but she does something quick for that little famous pose that she does when she finishes the transformation. She completes it. It's quick. It's not too long of a taunt. It's quick and it's safe. That moon special pose that she does when she's on transformed and ready to battle. Another one I came up with is the spiral heart moon rod that she uses in the show is one of her weapons, and it has its own abilities, in which I'm going to get into for the moveset coming up in a bit. She can aim the spiral heart moon rod at the enemy. See what I'm saying? So she got two of her best quotes that she could say for voice lines if added, and then two quick, safe, silent taunts that she can add in, or that they can put into the game without a voice line. So they can work with the character without voice lines, or with and without voice lines for the taunts and animations that I came up with. So I thought that would really be unique. And then for a winning animation, she said, it's just another voice line little quote. She says, "I'm going to be my own kind of princess." And she can finish when she gets the dub or gets the W on the screen. "I'm going to be my own kind of princess." And then she'll finish with that special pose that she does when she completes the transformation, the moon pose, or she can pose with the spiral heart rod. So those are the animations and voice lines that I came up with, little taunts that the player could do. Well, now it's time for the moveset. I had so much fun creating this. Now, Sailor Moon has a lot of powers. She has a lot of abilities, so she can have a whole list of abilities like Genie Wakeman, Goku if he's in this game, Sonic the Hedgehog if he gets in somehow, and all these other characters that have their own, just their whole arsenal. She has a giant arsenal of attacks and abilities that she can be. She can be one of the most powerful characters and most dangerous characters in this game to destroy everybody that's in this game that's on the screen. So she's just that powerful. So I came up with just a couple moves from the show, from just watching a couple clips. And one thing about Sailor Moon, even if she's in danger, she starts panicking and crying, she can still hit you with a deadly move. You want to watch out for this one, the Supersonic Waves that she can unleash. So when she cries and she's in trouble, she's done this in the show against enemies too. Definitely want to cover your ears. But she'll let out a big shout when she starts crying, and it creates supersonic waves. And it was always a difference maker to hurting the enemies when they're going to try to finish their plan, or when they had her captured and with nowhere to go. She would let out this cry and create these supersonic waves that are really deadly, and they're dangerous. They're hazardous, and it just stuns the enemies, and it just cuts down anything that they do. It destroys all the momentum that the villain or whoever it is. I don't remember all the villains from the show. It's been so long, but it would be the huge difference maker of slowing these enemies down and the villains of completing their master plan or their scheme or whatever the case may be. These supersonic waves could really be handy for Super Sailor Moon, for Sailor Moon to unleash during the battle. And not even just being able to unleash these supersonic waves, they can be chargeable for an extended range. And I think, just to add on to it, I think it'll be cool that just the way it stuns the enemies in the show, it'll be cool to see it immobilize and stun the characters or the enemy that you're going against in the game, to open up doors or for a wider window of more onslaught and more of a bigger offense, I want to say. So you get extended range, you charge up her supersonic waves. And that's how the voice lines would be handy for Sailor Moon. You hear her screaming and stuff like that, and stun the enemy for a few seconds. Now, that tiara that she wears, That's dangerous too. So she has Tiara Magic I came up with. And this could be a unique projectile attack that Sailor Moon can use for her tiara to shoot moonlight at enemies. Or if it's just a regular blast like Danny's projectile, SpongeBob's bubble that he fires across the screen, or Reptile's little fireball. See how he charges it up? It's just a fireball, but that's her screen can probably be like something like that. Obviously, it's not fire, but it could be something handy of that match. But the tiara she can just throw across the screen. It could be like a boomerang. It could be either a boomerang or she can just shoot it like a moon blast of light across the screen, something like that. And then Cat Dog shoots like a bomb. That's what he does. And then Helga has a slingshot, but I think it'd be something similar to Danny Phantom's little blast, or maybe Reptile's little fireball at that speed. But her tiara is going to be really quickly, so she'll probably be able to throw it really fast. It'll be a lot faster than the other projectiles in the game, I'm sure. If she can just throw it right at you and then just be able to catch it, or just shoot moonlight at the enemies. So they can make it work like that, but that's going to be definitely a good projectile attack when she uses her Tiara Magic. Just her magical tiara, and just be able to just throw it across the screen and be able to hit them. Now, that rod that I mentioned, I came up with Spiral Heart Moon Strong. Spiral Heart Moon could be a little strong attack where she can strike the enemy with love and justice. That's what she about, so why not be able to smack people around with the Spiral Heart rod that she uses in the show. So that'll be really cool. And just a little light combo, it's just a 3-hit combo, came up with little Scout Strikes. Scout Strikes because she's like a protector and she's one of the scouts and the leader of the scouts, or the guardians. You do light attacks with a series of heroic light attack combos, where she can use her fists because she can fight as well. She doesn't really need her rod and all the other magic that she does. She's a good fighter as well. So I came up with that. So she probably do maybe 1-2 punch combo, and then she can finish you with by swinging her rod or something like that. And even if she doesn't use her Spiral Heart rod, it can just be a series of little light combo attack. Something like similar to how Powder Soul Twins just punches you a few times. Something like that. So little Scout Strikes, came up with that. My next move, Starlight Blast, I came up with, where Sailor Moon can gather energy within her Spiral Heart rod. Within, she can gather energy and start storing it, and to be able to unleash onto the enemy. And just a little bit of an idea for this move, Starlight Blast can be charged up. The player can release the energy at any time on command. So similar to how you charge up with Power Toastman's little projectile, when he charges up, and then he can be able to release whenever he wants to. Release the attacks whenever he wants to. It could be some kind of similar variation of that. And I was trying to think of a character. I was going to say Fox or Falco, but they don't really charge or anything like that. I think Donkey Kong, that's what I wanted to think of. He has a charging fist. See how he charges up like that? He charges it up, and then he can unleash it. Once he unleashes his big fist, it does so much more damage. So it can work similar to how Donkey Kong charges up his fist for a powerful punch, with Starlight Blast being able to be released whenever the player, he or she, chooses to release it onto the enemy. And then once it's released, it'll do way more damage. So the player can just do a quick release or just charge it up, and then they can release it when they want to. And this can also be used in the air. So that way it's not just strictly on the ground. She can be able to fire it into the air. Will be used in the midair as well. So just to wrap up, I came up with a recovery move, Eternal Sailor Moon, or Eternal Sailor, where she had the wings and so much more. I came up with a recovery move where she can use her wings and more to try to get back onto the stage. So Eternal Sailor was she had a different skin. She had a different skin where it was in a different series that's on, I think that's the newest show that they came out with, but I haven't even seen it, or was it a movie? This could also be an alternate skin for her costume, but I came up with a different idea for recovery where Sailor Moon can take flight with her magical wings to guide her back into the action. It could be a paid DLC sort of skin for another additional skin for the player to purchase, but we don't know how the developers will probably be able to implement it. And so instead of adding it into my alternate costumes idea for my list of ideas, I put it as a recovery move so she can grow her wings and be able to get back onto the stage. So I couldn't really think of any other recovery that she can have. But just going back to reference Princess Peach, she can hover and float onto the stage. So I thought this would probably be a good little idea for her to probably be able to get back into the stage, because it references the show. It's a different form. It's so much more powerful than her regular form. But I thought this would be probably utilized more as a recovery instead of just a regular skin, because she looks so much more different with this eternal form. It was way more different than her original form for being one of the Sailor Guardians, with her original Sailor Guardian default costume at that, or default skin as an alternative. But I thought this would be a better recovery move for her. I'm not sure what you guys think about this for her Eternal Sailor Wings. So that's why I try to put in the skin name, the name of this particular form, to reference the show, but also make it into a recovery move, so the developers can be able to put her into action with the recovery itself. But those are the ideas for the moveset, and then the character ideas for this request. But I'm gonna just say this right now. Somebody wanted to see Jupiter as well, but I think I'm probably just gonna only stick to Sailor Moon, because even though Jupiter has her own powers, I think Sailor Moon would probably be the better choice to go with for DLC, because she can still have those skins to pay tribute to those other Sailor Guardians that she recruits during the show. And I'm not sure if they'll probably be able to get the other Sailor Guardians, but I think if anybody from that show, from the universe, they gotta go with Sailor Moon being the strongest and the most likely to get picked from the show. But they could still make those different skin variations of different colors for paid DLC to represent the other characters. Just like I mentioned, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, and Mars, they're all with her, and they don't join her until she recruits them. Since Sailor Moon is the leader, why not just get the leader itself into the game? So even if the other Sailor Guardians don't make it into the game, they can still be able to have those as paid DLC and purchasable skins for the player to purchase right off the bat, if they implement it for different skin variations for alternate costumes.